Painful experiences leave scars, but they do not define who you are. Too often, people carry their wounds like a permanent label, seeing themselves only through the lens of hurt, betrayal, or failure. They build an identity around past pain, forgetting that wounds are chapters in a story, not the whole book. True healing begins when you stop identifying with your pain and start embracing the strength, wisdom, and growth it brought you. You are more than what happened to you. Your wounds are reminders of battles fought, not definitions of who you are. You are not your pain, you are your healing. Your past wounds are part of your story, but they are not your identity. Everyone carries some form of pain, heartbreak, betrayal, failure, loss, or disappointment. These moments leave a mark, and sometimes they shape how you see the world. But the mistake many people make is allowing these wounds to define who they are. They take on labels like broken, rejected, unworthy, or victim. They let these painful moments become the core of their identity rather than a part of their experience. This way of living shrinks your life because it keeps you tied to a version of yourself that is based on hurt rather than truth. You start making decisions, forming relationships, and viewing opportunities through the lens of those wounds. You may avoid risks, fear love, mistrust people, or hold back from growth, all because your identity is wrapped in the fear of being hurt again. The truth is, wounds are events, things that happened at a certain time under certain circumstances. They are real, and the pain they caused is valid, but they are not you. You are the person who lived through them, who learned from them, and who still has the power to rise beyond them. When you shift your perspective from "this happened to me, so this is who I am," to "this happened to me and I am more than it," you open the door to healing and freedom. Your identity is not built on the worst things you've experienced. It's built on how you choose to respond, grow, and move forward from those experiences. The moment you stop carrying your wounds as your identity, you reclaim your power. You realize that you are not a prisoner of your past, nor are you defined by the mistakes of others. The betrayal you suffered doesn't mean you are unlovable. The failure you faced doesn't mean you are incapable. The loss you endured doesn't mean your life is over. These are all moments, chapters in a much bigger story. When you see your wounds for what they are, lessons, experiences, moments of growth, they lose their power to control you. You stop introducing yourself to the world through your pain and start showing up as the whole, evolving person you are. You become someone who owns their story without letting it own them. This shift allows you to engage with life fully, without dragging the weight of the past into every new experience. You create space for love, trust, creativity, and joy, because you are no longer filtering life through a broken lens. In the end, your wounds are a part of your history, not your destiny. They remind you of where you've been, not where you are going. You are bigger than your pain, stronger than your scars, and far more powerful than any moment that tried to define you. When you embrace this truth, you stop seeing yourself as damaged and start seeing yourself as whole, a person shaped by experience but never limited by it. Healing begins the moment you stop defining yourself by your pain. As long as you wear your wounds like a permanent identity, you remain stuck in the story of what hurt you. You keep revisiting the same memories, replaying the same conversations, and reliving the same disappointments. This doesn't just affect your emotions, it shapes how you see yourself, how you show up in relationships, and how you engage with life. You start believing that your pain is a fixed part of who you are, like a label you can't take off. Whether it's the belief that you're broken, unworthy, unlucky, or destined to suffer, these painful identities create invisible walls around you. You find yourself trapped in cycles of fear, bitterness, or avoidance, all because you've let your wounds tell you who you are. But healing cannot happen when you're still clinging to a painful identity. True healing requires you to separate your sense of self from the experiences that hurt you. This doesn't mean pretending the pain didn't happen or minimizing the impact it had on your life. It means acknowledging the wound while refusing to let it define your worth or your future. It's about saying, yes, this happened to me, but this is not all that I am. When you make this declaration, you shift from being a victim of your story to being the author of it. You take back the power you may have unknowingly given to your pain. Healing is not a single event, but a choice you make every day. It's the choice to stop feeding the old narrative of hurt and start nurturing a new vision of wholeness. This choice allows you to move forward, not by erasing the past, but by redefining your relationship with it. You begin to see your wounds as teachers rather than chains. The pain becomes a source of wisdom instead of a lifelong sentence. You start recognizing your capacity to grow, transform, and create a life that isn't dictated by old hurts. Letting go of a pain-based identity also opens you to new possibilities. You no longer approach life expecting to be hurt, betrayed, or disappointed. You stop projecting your past onto your present. This shift in mindset brings hope, lightness, and a renewed sense of freedom. You're able to build healthier relationships, pursue your dreams with confidence, and embrace life with an open heart. You're no longer bound by the need to protect your wounds or prove your worth. You simply live as your whole, authentic self. Ultimately, healing is about releasing the identity of pain and stepping into the truth of who you really are, a person capable of love, joy, strength, and infinite potential. Your wounds may be part of your story, but they are not the headline of your life. The moment you stop defining yourself by your pain is the moment you begin the journey back to your true self, whole, free, and powerfully alive. Carrying a sense of victimhood may feel like protection, but in reality it is a silent trap that keeps you locked in the patterns of your past. When you see yourself only as a victim of what others did to you, you unconsciously surrender your power to those painful experiences. You start living your life from a place of blame, resentment, and fear. Every setback becomes another piece of evidence that life is unfair or that you are destined to suffer. This mindset doesn't just affect your thoughts, it shapes your actions, choices, and even relationships. You may hold back from opportunities because you assume they'll end in disappointment. You may sabotage healthy connections because you fear betrayal. You may avoid challenges because you believe failure is inevitable. Victimhood feels safe because it allows you to avoid responsibility for your healing. If you are always the victim, you don't have to take ownership of your growth. You can blame others, your circumstances, or your past for everything you feel. But the price you pay for this illusion of safety is your freedom. Living in victimhood chains you to old wounds and stops you from stepping into your full potential. It keeps you in survival mode, reacting, defending, and protecting, instead of thriving, growing, and creating. You end up stuck in cycles of hurt, repeating the same stories in your head and reliving the same patterns in your life. The truth is, you are not responsible for the hurt others caused you, but you are responsible for how long you allow it to control you. The moment you shift from "this happened to me" to "this happened for me to grow," everything changes. This doesn't mean justifying harm or denying your pain. It means refusing to let your pain write the script of your life. You stop seeing yourself as powerless and start recognizing your strength, resilience, and capacity to heal. You reclaim your ability to choose your response, your path, and your future. Letting go of victimhood doesn't erase your past. It transforms your relationship with it. You begin to see your experiences not as defining moments but as chapters in your story of becoming. You no longer live in reaction to your wounds but in alignment with your healing. You rise above the role of victim and embrace the role of creator. You become the person who writes your own narrative, fueled by the wisdom your experiences gave you, not weighed down by the pain they caused. Choosing to release victimhood is a radical act of self-love. It means trusting that you are stronger than what happened to you. It means believing in your ability to rise, to heal, and to thrive. The moment you stop carrying the weight of victimhood, you open yourself to a life of freedom, power, and endless possibility. You stop being defined by the past and start living fully in the present as the empowered, capable person you were always meant to be. Your worth has nothing to do with your scars, your wounds, or the pain you have endured. Too often people measure their value based on the hurts they carry, believing that being broken, rejected, or having failed makes them less deserving of love, respect, or happiness. They see their scars as proof of their flaws instead of symbols of their strength. But your worth is not tied to the pain you've suffered. It is tied to the resilience you've shown by surviving, enduring, and continuing to grow despite everything that tried to break you. Your scars are not signs of weakness. They are evidence of your courage and the battles you have faced and overcome. When you allow your wounds to define your worth, you live in constant fear of being judged, rejected, or not being enough. You may hide parts of yourself, afraid that others will see your imperfections. You may settle for less than you deserve because you believe you are damaged or not worthy of better. This mindset keeps you small and disconnected from your true potential. You start to believe that your past mistakes, failures, or painful experiences have diminished your value, as if you are only as good as your most broken moments. But this is a lie that pain tells you. Your value is not based on your past but on your inherent dignity as a human being. Every scar you carry tells a story of survival, of lessons learned, and of strength discovered. Instead of seeing your scars as marks of shame, you can choose to see them as badges of honor, proof that you faced life's storms and refused to give up. Your resilience, the quiet power that kept you going when everything inside you wanted to quit, is what truly defines you. Real worth isn't about perfection or a spotless past. It's about authenticity, growth, and the ability to rise after falling. It's about the willingness to face your wounds, learn from them, and continue moving forward. The strongest people aren't those who've never been hurt. They are those who refuse to let their hurts break their spirit. They are the ones who turn their pain into wisdom, their struggles into strength, and their scars into reminders of their unbreakable nature. When you embrace this truth, you stop chasing validation from the outside world. You stop needing others to approve of you or affirm your value. You begin to stand in your worth simply because you know who you are. A resilient, powerful soul who is not defined by pain but refined by it. Your scars do not diminish you. They elevate you. They tell the world that you have endured, you have learned, and you have grown. They are part of your story, but they are not your identity. In choosing to honor your resilience over your wounds, you unlock a deeper sense of confidence and freedom. You begin to live with the quiet assurance that no matter what life throws at you, your worth remains untouched, constant, unshakable, and profoundly powerful. Freedom begins when you own your story without letting it own you. Life brings experiences that leave marks, some beautiful, some painful, and it's natural to carry the memories of those moments. But there's a difference between carrying your story with awareness and letting it control your identity, decisions, and future. Many people remain trapped by their past because they keep replaying the narrative of their wounds, failures, or betrayals, allowing those moments to dictate how they see themselves and how they live. They become stuck in a loop where the story of what happened becomes the story of who they are. Instead of moving forward, they walk in circles, repeating patterns fueled by the pain they refuse to release. Owning your story means facing your past with honesty and courage. It means acknowledging what happened, feeling the emotions that come with it, and understanding the lessons it taught you. But it also means refusing to be chained by it. You are not obligated to live forever as a character written by your pain. You have the power to rewrite your story, to change the way you carry your memories, and to choose a future that isn't shaped by fear or bitterness. This is not about denying your experiences or pretending they didn't affect you. It's about stepping into a place of authority over your own narrative, deciding that your past can inform you but will not imprison you. When you take ownership of your story, you stop being a passive observer in your own life. You become the author. You realize that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you have absolute control over how you respond and what meaning you give to your experiences. This shift empowers you to break free from the patterns that once defined you. Instead of living out the same scripts of fear, anger, or hurt, you start making choices from a place of strength and wisdom. You begin to act, not out of reaction to your past, but out of intention for your future. This freedom transforms every area of your life. In relationships, you stop expecting others to hurt you or fix you. In your work, you stop doubting your ability to succeed. In your personal growth, you stop fearing failure and embrace the adventure of learning. You live lighter because you are no longer dragging the weight of an identity shaped by wounds. You feel a deep sense of peace, knowing that your story is a part of you, but it is not all of you. Ultimately, freedom comes when you realize that you are not your past, your pain, or your scars. You are the person who survived, learned, and grew beyond them. You are the author of your story, and you get to decide how it unfolds from here. This is the power that allows you to live boldly, love freely, and walk through life with the confidence of someone who knows they are no longer owned by their past. They are writing their own future.